Without Ein Sof, I must necessarily die. Ein Sof, of course, means without end. It is said in the Locus Communes Kabbalistici, a name of the cause of causes is the Ein Sof, which is called, because of its loftiness, there is no limit. It's the Kabbalistic infinity, it's what it is, the Ein Sof. And nothing can contain it. This is the Keter, the corona, or the crown, the top, the uppermost sphere in the Kabbalah tree of life. The divine will, because this is the throne of the infinite, that is the first and the highest seat, none is higher, because Ein Sof resides and is hidden in it. This is the figure that he is discussing. The triangle within two circles, or the two circles within the triangle, which is within the square, and then you see the sun and the moon and Mercury in each one of the corners of the triangle. The words on the outside edges of the triangle correspond with some Hebrew that he says another gentleman has translated and interpreted, and I'll show this to you. I'll read it to you first and then I'll read it. The kolal ko tabagnat shogan belev did kid. It means, in thy perfection is sealed, brave, vigorous with heart, he who has veneration. Pike says, or we might translate this as, he who has veneration with a firm heart is included in thy perception or perfection. So that's very interesting. Veneration with a firm heart, you're included in the perfection. And there's that triangle right there with the Hebrew and the translation. Again, this reflects the idea of the earthly reflecting the heavenly in the form of a triangle. That's very interesting. These Hermetic principles that Pike discussed in the Esoterica as a basis for some of the number symbolism in the Masonic lodges, in our numbers, in the Pythagorean theorem, the 47th proposition of Euclid, with which we do emphasize, all of these tie in together as we incorporate the words, the figures, the gestures, the clothing, the shapes, and we recognize that all of nature, everywhere, from the brook behind me, the trees, the grass I'm sitting on, the air I'm breathing, the mountains I'm enjoying, the sunshine that shines in my eyes when I look up at it. All of manifest creation is the divine supreme architect manifesting himself to his own reflection, which is us. The three-part heavenly aspect of immortality. The soul, the spirit, and the body. Hence the importance of the triangle as a geometric figure. The 47th proposition of Euclid, which Masonry emphasizes, and the intent interest in the fellowcraft degree of studying geometry. We're not kidding. We love studying geometry, not only as architects, so that we can build these magnificent buildings which reflect the heavenly order, because it's based on sacred geometric proportions, ratios, and harmonies, giving an equilibrium between earth and heaven, with us reflecting the divine mind and will and intellect, thus sharing in the creation with the divine architect. It's a beautiful concept. And to continue emphasizing the serious implications of this triangle theme, I'm getting dust on my lens, hold on. There's a good close-up of my fingerprint. Hope you can turn me in and get me. Albert Pike, in his book Morals and Dogma, a book I would strongly recommend all Freemasons read. I know it's thick going and kind of heavy duty with the language. It's got so many jewels and gems and crispy insights, it's incredible. I would highly advise you. It's worth every effort spent in it. Page 826, the square, the compass, the plumb, and the level. These are all well known to us as Masons, of course. The peculiar and principal symbol of this degree, the Grand Inspector Inquisitor Commander in the Scottish Rite, he says, is the Tetractys of Pythagoras. Suspended in the east where ordinarily the sacred word or law glitters, or letters glitter, like it representing the deity. Its 9 external points form the triangle, the chief symbol in Masonry. The chief symbol in Masonry is the triangle. Again, geometry, with the many meanings of which you are familiar. To us, its 3 sides represent the 3 principal attributes of the deity, which created and now, as ever, support, uphold, and guide the universe in its eternal movement. The 3 supports of the Masonic temple, which itself is an emblem of the universe. Wisdom, or the divine infinite intelligence. Strength, or power, the infinite divine will. And beauty, or the infinite divine harmony. The 3 pillars of Freemasonry. The eternal law, by virtue of which the infinite myriads of suns and worlds flash ever onward in their ceaseless revolutions. Without clash or conflict in the infinite of space and change and movement, are the law of all created exigencies. To us, as Masonic judges, the triangles figures forth the pyramids. Interesting, which planted firmly as the everlasting hills and accurately adjusted to the 4 cardinal points, defiant of all the assaults of men and time, teach us to stand firm and unshaken as they, when our feet are planted upon the solid truth. It includes a multitude of geometric figures, all having a deep significance to Masons. The triple triangle is especially sacred because, of course, it is a representation of the deity. Prolonging all of the external lines of the hexagon, which also it includes, we have 6 smaller triangles whose bases cut each other in the central point of the tetractys, itself always the symbol of the generative power of the universe. So the tetractys is a symbol of the generative power of the universe. You can get a cube out of it. You can get triple triangles. There's many figures important that this tetractys hide, but can be revealed through the practice of sacred geometrical construction. That's why we emphasize due geometry. The sun, Brahma, the Egyptian Osiris, Apollo, Bel, and the deity himself. Thus, too, we form 12 still smaller triangles, 3 times 3 of which compose the tetractys itself. He goes on to say that everywhere in the world there is a natural law that is a constant mode of action, which seems to belong to the nature of things, to the constitution of the universe. This fact is universal. In different departments, we call this mode of action by different names: the law of matter, the law of mind, the law of morals, and the like. We mean by this a certain mode of action which belongs to the material, the mental, or the mental forces with which we are dealing with in this world. To come to an appreciation of these laws, we have to learn proportion, harmony, geometry, the moral law, study the creation, live in the creation, appreciate the creation, and see the beauty and power of the color, the shape, the inherent philosophical truths that we gather from nature, since, as Freemasonry understands, nature itself is the manifestation, the visible manifestation of the invisible deity. So it is based on laws which we would do very well to emulate, to put together in our own buildings and in our own lives. It's fabulous how it all ties together, as Pike well noted in his numerous philosophical, religious, and Masonic writings.